Hello students, I'm Naina, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, SVIT, Bangalore. Today we are going to discuss Module 5, so that is Material Science, or we can also call it as Quantum Free Electron Theory, Semiconductor and Dielectrics. So first we'll see Material Science, Session 1. So the Session 1 will see the outline. So today we are going to discuss in this session free electron theory of metal, assumptions of classical free electron theory, basic terms involved in free electron theory, and failures of classical free electron theory. So, introduction. So, first we'll see what are free electrons. The electrons present in the outermost orbit and easily detached from their parent nuclei are called free electrons. And now, what are conduction electrons? When external voltage is applied to a metal, electrons flow opposite to the direction of applied electric field, which constitutes an electric current called as conduction electron. So we'll see the structure of atom. So where in the structure, let's see here, center one is nothing but a nucleus, where this nucleus is surrounded by a number of electrons in the form of orbits. So these are nothing but atomic orbit. So we have three orbits. So each orbit consisting of few electrons. So the outermost orbit is what? This blue one. So now see, if you apply a small amount of energy to this atom, due to that energy, the outermost electron easily escapes from that orbit. So therefore, these electrons we can call it as free electrons. So now we will just see this is a metal where in this structure it consisting of large number of positive ions as well as the free electrons. That means where metal consisting of positive ions where we can also call it as lattice points. Right? So lattice points are arranged in a regular manner. Right? So these are nothing but electrons. Now we'll see what is this classical free electron theory. So this classical free electron theory was explained by Lorentz and Drude. So this theory we can also call it as Drude-Lorentz free electron theory. A German physicist, Paul Drude, in 1900 made an attempt to explain the properties of metals by assuming that there are large number of concentration of mobile free electrons in metal. It was later extended by H. A. Lorentz of Holland, who took into account of the velocity distribution of the electrons based on Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law. Okay, so now it is nothing but to explain the electrical conductivity in a metal. That means see a metal consisting of what? Large number of free electrons. Okay, fine. So now we'll move on to the assumptions of classical free electron theory. Guys, see where the free electron theory of metal it was proposed by Lorentz and Drude in 1900, right? In order to what? In order to explain electrical conductivity in a metal. This can be explained on the basis of free electron theory of metal by following assumptions. So assumptions of classical free electron theory. Assumption 1, free electrons are equal to gas molecules. So that means free electrons in a metal are considered equivalent to molecules in a gas. Therefore, law of kinetic theory of gases are applicable to even free electrons also, right? That is where the kinetic energy is equals to half of mvth square is equals to 3 by 2 kT. Assumption number 2. Free electrons moves in an uniform potential field. Assumption number 3. Electric field is equals to 0. That means in the absence of applied electric field, free electrons are start moving in a random direction. You just see this diagram. See, each electron is moving in a different direction in the absence of applied electric field. Again, one more assumption. Electric field is not equal to 0. That means in the presence of applied electric field, all electrons are started moving in a same direction, but exactly opposite to that of the applied electric field. So just see a diagram. I see these are the lattice points, and where we have a small pink dots are nothing but electrons. So once if you apply electric field to a metal, all electrons are moving in a same direction. Okay, so that too exactly opposite to that of the applied electric field. So one more assumption. Attraction force between electron lattice and repulsion force between electron and electron is neglected or negligible. So where we know that lattice having a positive charge, electron having a negative charge will get the attraction force, and where electron having the negative charge and the lattice having the positive charge. So opposite charges are attraction each other, the same charges are repulsion each other. Okay, so both the forces are neglected. Assumption 5. Lattice ions vibrations are constant throughout the metal. So whatever we have a vibrations on this positive ions are constant throughout the metal. So these are the assumptions so far we have discussed. Now we are going to discuss basic terms involved in free electron theory. So the first one is drift velocity, mobility, mean free path, mean collision time, relaxation time, band gap, current density, resistivity, and conductivity. So now we are going to discuss one by one. So the first term are drift velocity. Drift velocity can be represented by Vd, the average velocity with which free electrons moves in a steady state opposite to the direction of applied electric field in a metal is called drift velocity. So drift velocity can be calculated by Vd is equals to small e into capital E divided by m into tau, where small e is nothing but charge of an electron, capital E is nothing but applied electric field, m is nothing but mass of an electron, tau is nothing but mean collision time. Second term, relaxation time. So relaxation time can be represented by tau r. So it is the time required for the average velocity of free electrons to reduces to 1 by e times of its value that existed when the field is just turned off is called as relaxation time, mean collision time. So mean collision time can be represented by tau, that is the average time between two successive collisions of an electron with the lattice point is called as mean collision time, where the mean collision time can be calculated by tau is equals to lambda by v. So where lambda is nothing but mean free path and v is nothing but drift velocity. So next term is mean free path. So can be represented by lambda. The average distance traveled by the electron, that means free electrons, between two successive collisions with lattice ion is called as mean free path. Next we have mobility of electron. So mobility of electron can be represented by mu. It is defined as the magnitude of the drift velocity acquired by the electron per unit electric field. Is called mobility of free electron. So mobility of free electron can be calculated by mu is equals to Vd into E, where Vd is nothing but drift velocity, E is nothing but applied electric field. Next we have resistivity. So resistivity can be represented by rho. It is a measure of material ability to oppose the flow of an electric current called resistivity. Last we have conductivity. So conductivity can be represented by sigma. It is the measure of the material ability to allow charge carriers to flow through it is called conductivity. Okay. So far we have learnt a few basic terms involved in free electron theory. So now we are going to discuss a failures of classical free electron theory or drawbacks of classical free electron theory. So the classical free electron theory doesn't have good agreement with experimental value and theoretical value. Like the first one is specific heat, second one temperature dependence of electrical conductivity, third one is dependence of electrical conductivity on electron concentration. First one is specific heat. So the molar specific heat of a gas at constant volume can be represented by Cv is equals to 3 by 2 R. But free electrons are treated as gas molecules, so that the above equation must be applicable even for free electrons also. But experimentally, it was found that the specific heat of a metal by its conduction electrons was Cv is equals to 10 to the power of minus 4 RT. So experimentally, we have got Cv is equals to 3 by 2 R. Theoretically, we have got Cv is equals to 10 power minus 4 RT. So experimentally, it is very much low value than the expected one. And also, it shows a dependence on temperature, which is not agreement to the theory. So this was the one of the failure of classical free electron theory. So second one, we have temperature dependence of electrical conductivity. So experimentally, we know that electrical conductivity is proportional to 1 by T. We can call it as equation 1. From the assumptions of classical free electron theory, we have half of mvth square is equals to 3 by 2 kT. So from this equation, where we can write equation for VTH, that will be equal to root of 3 kT by m, because here 2 will get cancelled. So that we can call it as equation number 2. So again from this 2, I can write VTH proportional to root T. So we can take root of 3 km as a constant. Okay, done. So next we have that where tau is proportional to 1 by VTH. So from this, where tau is proportional to what is VTH? VTH is proportional to root T. So tau is proportional to 1 by root T. So that we can call it as equation 3. So now we know that sigma is equals to Ne square tau by m. So from this equation, I can write from this equation 3, where sigma is equals to sigma is proportional to tau, because if we consider Ne square by m constant, where sigma is proportional to tau, where what is tau value? Where sigma is proportional to 1 by root t, because tau value is nothing but 1 by root t. So we can call it as equation number 4. But where the conductivity by experimentally is proportional to 1 by T. So that is from equation 1. So from this equation 1 and equation 4, it is clear that prediction of classical free electron theory is not an agreement with the experimental observation, right? So sigma is proportional to 1 by root T. But here by experimentally we are getting is proportional to 1 by T. So this was the one of the failure of classical free electron theory. So third we have dependence of electrical conductivity on electron concentration. So from classical free electron theory, the expression for electrical conductivity that can be represented by sigma is equals to Ne square tau by m, where sigma is nothing but electrical conductivity, n is nothing but electron concentration, E is nothing but charge of an electron, where tau is nothing but mean collision time, where m is nothing but mass of an electron. So from this equation, I can write where sigma is directly proportional to n. That means electrical conductivity is directly proportional to electron concentration. So it can be observed that the divalent and trivalent metals shows lesser conductivity value even though they have higher electron concentration values as compared to that of the monovalent metal. So we'll just consider a small table where we have a metal valency, conductivity value and electron concentration value. So if you consider a di as well as the trivalent metal, so even having a less conductivity. So if for example if you take zinc, the conductivity value is 1.09 into 10 power 7, but we are having higher electron concentration value, that is 13.10 into 10 power 28. So therefore it clears that the prediction of sigma is directly proportional to n doesn't always holds good. So This was the one of the failure of classical free electron theory. So we'll do conclusion. So far we have discussed what is free electron theory of a metal, and we have discussed 7 assumptions of classical free electron theory, and we have discussed a basic terms involved in free electron theory, and based on the assumptions of classical free electron theory we have discussed failures of classical free electron theory. Thank you.